Hello, everybody. Dren608 plays, but this is the early release video series for Xenonauts2. We're going to go into base building here. One of the things you could do is you could jump out to the geoscape and try and build a second base right away. I will have a different video series, another video on trying to make that work, what you would need to do. I will say this. This is the most backwards way of base building that I can think of. You basically have your radar. One of the most obvious access points is through your hangars to get to you if the aliens come to attack. One nice thing when you're in base building, the clock stops, so you don't have to worry about time passing while you're building in here. So that is a quick way of getting a pause in if you want to go check things out. So some of the things you can do in the bases is, we've already seen the research screen. In your engineering screen, there's one thing you can build is armor. You can also build more aircraft. Notice aircraft is very expensive, okay? And you have to have an empty hangar space in order to build another aircraft. Armor, this is not the greatest armor in the world. If you hover over it, it will tell you what it is. It will lower your soldiers' accuracy by 5, and your armor hit points you get 12. As far as I understand how it works, the armor hit points mitigate the amount of damage coming at you. Hardness is sort of a penetration thing, and it weighs a ton. It weighs 20 units worth of weight, which will slow your soldiers down, depending on how you do things, okay? Engineers don't really talk to you. They'll see little notes here about doing stuff. You can go to the soldier screen. This shows you all of your soldiers that you have here, their hit points, their time units, their accuracy. If you see a red is like anything below 40 is considered a red unit. It's not the best. Might be somebody you might think about replacing depending on what other things they have. This guy has a lot of hit points, but and really brave, but not real accurate, for Sergeant Marta Smirnov. Okay. Each of these soldiers will actually have a portrait out there. What you're really looking for in here is fairly high strength, decent hit points, usually as close to 50 as possible, which all these soldiers are very close to that, 50 and above. The biggest one is your time units. Time units means you can do more on the battlefield. Right now I have one at 72, one at 70, and the rest are all in the 50s except for this one. My sniper's at 62. So that could be a problem. You can assign them different roles, which will change their loadout, which I'll get to in a second. Here is where you can store things. You can store 150 in this storage thing. The armory. This will be your soldiers and stuff. We'll go through each of these in turn. This is the aircraft screen where you can change your armament on your aircraft. And this here, archives, it basically has your background, your basic weapons, what they do, soldiers, their tactical armor, which is like nothing. It's basically a uniform. Defender armor gives them a little bit of armor, and it goes through what your aircraft can do, how fast they are, and so on and so forth, and how much it costs to keep them up. All right, and as you go on, if you get new base structures and things, you will have more listed in here. So this is like a nice little quick, what does that do again? You click in here and you click on whatever it is, and you can see what it can do and how you can equip it, okay? We're gonna go back to basic base building. Like I said, you could go out to the geoscape, you could start up another base, say in North America. I'll do a separate video on doing that and how to try and manage that. That's a little more advanced than the basic everyman screen. Anyway, as I was saying, base this base layout is nothing like what you would normally see a base built as. I would never build a base this way. It's just silly. Quite honestly, it's leaving you open to. They're going to come through your hangars, and you're exposing your radar and your stores to immediate invasion from here. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. From a tactical standpoint, I have a history degree focusing on military history, and this is not the way you would build a defensible base. You can try to rebuild it if you want, or you can just accept this bad base design and defend it as best you can. There will be aliens that will be able to get into your base, not through the hangars. There's aliens that can either teleport or have infiltration capabilities, and they will start off in other places in your base. From a basic standpoint, one of the things you're going to need to do, and over here, it's going to tell you how much it costs by highlighting over this. You can see the cost here, how many days it takes to build, what its dimensions are, which is the 2x1 is like 2 squares by 1 square. Storerooms, okay. They add 100 storage capacity and 25 if they're adjacent. So like this one here, this is your base like command room and access. All your soldiers come here for base defense to start with, and then they'll span out here, so it's almost like a landing zone when you're doing defending of your base. So you do want this close to your hangars so that you can try and cut down any infiltration from the hangars. You will have to send soldiers out to the rest of your base to deal with other guys that can get in there. Generators generate power. You see these second line there, it says 50 power capacity, but plus 30 if you're adjacent. You will need power, so we're going to go ahead and build a generator so you can see what happens here. If you're going to do this, you'll notice that my power went up to 200 for now, because it's plus 50. But when this takes in effect, that'll actually go up a little bit. So, storerooms, you won't need an extra one of those. Radar array, you don't get adjacency bonuses. You upgrade your radar to get to those other ranges. Living quarters gives you plus 10 living capacity, plus 4 if you're adjacent. So like now, I have these two adjacent. So you'll see my living capacity here, instead of it being 20, it's 24. Because normally, normally it's 10 per room, but being adjacent, you get an extra 4. You're going to need another living quarters too, so we're going to go ahead and build one of those right here. Alright. Laboratory, you see it says plus 5 on your research capacity. If you looked at our guy here, we had 5 guys. We have 5 extra engineers in our personnel group, which if you're here, you can see how many engineers you have in research and engineering. They each have 5 guys, and they each are 5. If we build another one adjacent here, we will go up to 4. There it is. We'll go up to 12 being able to do that. Every guy you add adds 5% to your research speed. So we could add 7 guys, which would be 35 more percent to our laboratory, to our research speed, which is important because you got to get stuff researched so that you can build it with your engineers. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, build a laboratory here. Workshop does the same kind of thing. We're going to build a workshop over here. And that should let us bring in a bunch of extra engineers and engineers and scientists to increase the speed on how everything gets done. Okay. One of the things you do want to build, training takes 20 days. Medical center takes 15. You want to put a medical center down here, and then you want to put a training facility in here as well, somewhere. And you've taken up almost all. You only have 950,000 left to build things with. That's a pretty good basic start for your first time through. Just accept the fact that base defense is going to be a nightmare because of the way this base was built. When I go through the one on building 2 bases early, building an extra base early, I will show you the concept of how to build a much more defensible base. But right here, we're just going to deal with this. We're not going to try and fix this base because it's just too much trouble to try and do that. So we're done with that. And that's base building 101. We're expanding in 20 days, we'll be able to get more scientists and more engineers. In 15 days, we're going to have the extra space. And we also will have the medical facility. The medical facility will help you immensely. Right now, we only have a 15% chance if we have a guy that dies out on the battlefield. If we can get him back home, if it's a battlefield where you don't have to run home on a timer, you'll be fine. If you have to run home on a timer, you need to bring the fallen comrade back. And right now, there's a 15% chance survival rate. If you go to the medical center, it will add an extra 25% to that survival rate, so you'll have a 40% chance rate of getting him back. So 4 out of 10 fallen guys should come back and be healable over time. They're very expensive, so you usually don't need to. Usually only want one. Training facility, you can train up to 12. If you put 2 of them together, you could get 24, 5, 6, 26 guys. I, as a general rule, do not have. They don't tell you how many soldiers you have. As a general rule, you probably are only going to have 12 guys at a facility because your ship only holds so many people. All right, let's go into what do we want to do next. I think maybe we'll just call this Base Building 101. It's a quick overview of how bases work, things you can do. Missile batteries, you can usually hold off on this for a little bit. You're going to want to put a missile battery in, but you might want to wait until a little bit later. Oh, one of the things you do want to get building right away is a hangar. And now, you see how it's out here? If to switch the location of how this lays, you right-click. Oh, not right-click. Sorry. Use the mouse wheel. I think there's another key that you can use to do that too, but I can't remember what it is. But you can use that to see how you want to lay it out. And if it's green, you can put it down. If you do this, obviously you can't because you're going over something that already exists. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it up here. I don't want it to be adjacent to my laboratories. I want them to mostly be coming from what I call north, the top of the map. And you want this so that you can get, in time, you'll be able to build a 3rd aircraft. Excuse me. For the larger UFOs that are going to come later in the game, you're going to need squadrons of 3 to take them out. Hopefully advanced jets, but you may not get there before you have to actually face some of them, and you're going to have to try and take them out with 3 airplanes as best you can. Okay? So that's Base Building 101. We spent 1.6 and a half of our money just to get all these buildings started. And that's where we're going to stop there. So we're going to call this Base Building 101. The next thing we're going to go to is, in the next video, I will go over aircraft armament and soldier loadouts, and things you might want to have your engineers go ahead and start doing right away. Okay? So that's it for this video. It's a nice short 15-minute video on base building. Like I said, this is base building 101. Sort of do the best you can with what you started with. I will have a separate one where I show you how to try and go for 2 bases early to get more coverage. It's a decision that you have to make. It's a strategic thing. Going 2 bases is a little iffy early on because you're not going to have a lot of these extra laboratory and workshop. You won't have those to start with, and you probably will be short a couple of other things too, because you end up, these things are very expensive. 250,000 for that, 250,000 for that. That $500,000 actually is used to help you start the next base, and you actually don't, I can't remember what the other thing is that don't do. Oh, you don't add in this living space right away. You go ahead and drop the medical facility to keep your soldiers alive and a training facility, but that's it. This one doesn't come out either. So there's another 750,000 because it costs like $1 million to put down a base, which I find to be a little absurd. But and all that gives you is this square, and you have to build a hangar and a storage bin and the living quarters, and you have to try and build that one out. If you go for 2 bases early, you're going to be very hard pressed to get it up and running before the end of the first month anyway. So it might be better to try and save yourself up and do it in the second month instead. Okay, so that's base building 101. Sort of from a first time through this, what do you need to do to try and make yourself effective for this first month? Most of it's not going to kick in till mid-month or after that you're going to be able to do anything with it. So you're going to just kind of be stuck with what you've got to start with. We will go over soldiers and aircraft next time. Maybe we will just do soldiers and then do aircraft and get to the first mission thereafter. Okay? All right. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up button. You really like to see, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notify bell to be notified to upload videos and our scheduled streams. I'm Dren608. Until we meet again, stay safe and bye-bye.